Here is a brain scan of people who suffer from low motivation and procrastination. And here is a brain scan of people who doesn't. On the opposite, they can't execute. This is a finding of researcher Hall Hershfield. In his study of procrastination and low motivation, he suppressively found out the one cause of procrastination is people using their future imaginative perfect self to judge the current self. Just like when you went on a date, you haven't imagined how you behave, how other people perceive you. But when you say something you self consider as dumb, you start have these internal voices deny you, criticize you, or even causing sometimes self-harm. And this mental process is scientifically proved by Dr. Hershfield why people procrastinate. The study started at 2013 in University of California. In order to have a more precision in the research, Dr. Hershfield invited over 1,000 applicants to fill out the survey who believe they suffer from procrastinations. 49% of the applicants who actually report the main reason why they have a low motivation and procrastinate is because themselves. They believe that it is because this lazy self, useless self, are stopping them to reach their goal. And lots of them wish this useless self just went away or disappeared. After 1 year, when Hershfield revisited those 1,000 applicants, whoever report the cause of their low motivation is self show even more symptom of procrastination, and they have even lower motivations. That really generate his interest and invite a lot of them back to laboratory to scan their brain to figure out what specifically happened in our brain when we procrastinate or feel lose motivation. In the beginning, when people lie down on the brain scan, MRI, to scan their brain, when they imagine a current self, some left part of their brain is glowing up. When you ask the applicants to imagine a future self, just like what you do when you're doing a New Year resolution, imagine what I'm gonna be, what I wish to achieve. A different part of your brain is glowing up. It's almost your brain don't recognize that future self are you. Even more, when you ask applicants to imagine a celebrities, the similarity of a future self and a celebrity is closer than to yourself, the current useless, not perfect self. After this, they invite all the applicants to the second procedure of the experiment called motivational test. They find that if you have a higher overlap between current self and an imaginative self, you not only have a less procrastination, you have a more motivation, you can execute whatever you want to do, you also done a smarter decision. For example, put more money into savings for the 401k or whatever retirement funds. So what is actually going on here? Why overlap of current self and future self are causing the procrastination? I thought when you have a motivation and ambition, you want to be someone who are different, can motivate people more. But now you tell me to dream big, have ambition, are causing me unable to start and execute. The answer is actually hidden in our brain structure. We have an animal brain that is the first part of the brain that we develop in evolutions, and that mainly control the natural instincts or emotions. Then we have the later developed, quote unquote, called human brain, frontal cortex. That's control of rational, willpower, discipline, and the planning. We may actually start doing something that we have to suffer temporary pain to reach a long-term benefit. For example, New Year resolutions. These two parts of the brain sometimes start having this power struggle. And what happens in people of procrastination is their animal brain frequently win. You may ask how? Is by using the emotions. They may start stimulate the part of the brain, start make you have this anxiety, anxious and fear feelings. And they even will use the memory to signal a loss of negative memory you had before. So it make the win of animal brain easier. And this is what exactly happened. Just remember last time when you try to read a book or when you try to do meditation because you hear the benefit of it, within 5 minutes, you start having this unsettling anxiety feeling, and that is your animal brain is going on. Finally, when you lose, you're like, screw it, I'm just gonna go on my phone. And that is how most procrastination happened. Back to the model of Hirschfeld, he believed that this kind of anxiety and this pressure is actually come from the future self. It almost feels like you have this toxic teammate. When you try to do some work, all they do is complain of how terrible you are. It causes you have this anxiety and a pressure and make you have horrible feeling to start. It is not even about time management. It's about emotion management. Or in another term, how satisfied are you of your imagination to you? And this idea also proven by another researcher named Tim Pitchell. He's a researcher in Carleton University. He's been studying procrastination for over 20 years. He found that for people who procrastinate, they normally have a lower self-compassion. They aren't able to emphasize and help the current self from the future self standpoint. And that's why sometimes you see people beat themselves up over like physically. It's almost like two persons are coexisting one person. And that's exactly why in the behind the machine process. And this power struggle between current self, future self, plus have a lower self-compassion causes a death loop that people aren't able to escape. When they try to do something useful, reading a book or meditate, their animal brain are sending terrible emotions and anxiety because the future self is treating the current self as something that drag your own life behind. Then when you finally give up, you start watching live stream, you go on your phone and go on TikTok for 3 hours. Suddenly, your frontal cortex, the human brain, start criticizing you, are warning you that you have no bright future. You're gonna have a terrible life. You're gonna die alone. And that is the death loop that a lot of people suffer when they have procrastinations. And then for lots of people, their ending choices is give up. Yes, I am this terrible persona. Even then, other people may see you as successful, but internally, you aren't able to come to terms to yourself, causes you give up and do a variety of different things just to prove how terrible you are. On the opposite, for people who can execute, how does it feel like? It was recorded by another researcher named Csikszentmihalyi. He is sending random sample for people who doing different sports. When they have a peak experience, they normally will interrupt them and ask them to write down how they feel. Regardless you are doing extreme sports or skateboards or chess or whatever you're doing, their peak experience are exactly the same. Csikszentmihalyi described as a flow state because everybody are saying that I suddenly losing track of self and time. It feels like I'm in the space of vacuum. It feels something is carrying me to the forward like a flow. And I also will use a personal experience to demonstrate how that two difference that I actually feel. There's a period of time, quite a period of time, I try to get back on running. But what actually make me stop is not that I lack of motivations. It's because I have this image how running is supposed to be. I used to read a book from Haruki Murakami. He described when he doing running, he's not thinking of anything. In the beginning, I don't really get it because when I run like literally a train, my heart are beating so fast. I feel I'm on the verge of dying. How the heck you're not thinking anything but give up? Of course, like we think running is just going fast. You cannot run slower than a walking pedestrian. But for a beginner, that's how you're supposed to run. In order to enjoy the fun, to reach the flow. But when I'm using my own methodology to calibrate my imagination of what it's supposed to be, I suddenly can enjoy the fun and looking forward to next running. I will share my solutions and my understanding to this issue, and also share those researchers' solution to solve this low motivation procrastination issues. First, you need to have a expectation control. We have a goal, and this goal is not that you're born to know. No one born say, I want to be a lawyer or doctor, unless you're watching that lawyer or doctor show. No one want to be an accountant until you heard you have that uncle who live very good by doing accountant job. We're living in a world that people are building dreams for you. When we grow up, school will tell you people who study well will have a successful life. They're telling you this to motivate you, but sometimes they're setting a too high of bar for you to even to begin doing study without self-hatred. In the society, there's a variety of company try to sell you this image. When you wear this watches, have this diamond, driving this car, you will have this a symbol of success. To even more, some YouTuber, they start their video, they try to help you 100%, but they start their video by saying some bizarre thing that is almost imaginative for yourself. For example, they will say, I have 2 jobs, I work 2 side hustle, and I have this business running. In the same time, I'm reading 1,000 books a year. Here is how I do it. I get those YouTubers, by using this, they will have a dopamine hit for the viewers so they can stay longer to listen till the end. But on the opposite, they will set up a lot of wrong skewed perception of what your life should be. And when you are not there, you procrastinate and losing motivations. You thought those videos that you watch actually help you. Those methods probably will help you, but those expectations will actually ruin your motivation. Even then, you have the most right method. If lack of the motivation to do it, you wouldn't reach the end goal. And come to deep down this expectation control. What I'm trying to say is you need to fight for your own self-explanation right. Who can define what a future self should be you instead carry around by a YouTuber? You saw this YouTuber are filming YouTube, so suddenly you want to become a YouTuber. You're going home, you see your dad have a very successful family and very happy. You suddenly want to become a family person. That kind of carry around actually messed up our expectation what self should be. And in the end, that future self for you, it's just a stranger. Nothing but yapping in the back of your mind when you try to achieve something great. And the second solution is actually provided by Dr. Hirschfeld. He have a different set of idea. How could we solve this future self and current self issue? He said, if sometime we see the future self closer to a stranger, why don't we use a charity method? If you wanting to donate money to someone who are stranger to you, you're probably wanting to do more for the strange future self. So the method they reference is actually some study. When you describe a receptance of charity more vivid, you're more willing to put more effort and money into them. Through research method, they're using those, Instagram filter or TikTok filter, an older version of themselves. And to be more immersive, they even, as early as 2012, they make goggles. It's like now we talk about called metaverse. A digital self, they also put a future self within the room so you can see that person so precisely, so vivid. The people who see that message willing to put double amount of saving into their account after the experiment. So if you can, you probably should print out a older version of yourself with that aging filter from your phone and post somewhere and keep imagine a more specific detail or even have a conversation with the imaginative self. You probably will make a wiser decision and have a more motivation working towards that strange life of futures. And this is all for today's video. I really hope you have a more understanding into procrastination and be more kind and empathy to the self you are right now. And that's all for today's video. My name is Paul. I see you next time.